Still up in the club, popping bottles like bubble. All the girls showing us love. We so fly, we still fly.
Alright, so we're going to take a look at my 6HV. This is already pre-wired. I'm going to explain a couple things that I do to my wiring to help out. And then I'm actually going to pull these servos because we're testing out some new servos, and I'll rewire it and show you that once I'm done. But anyway, a couple things I wanted to point out is that I run a wire over this elevator servo. This would be the lower servo on the left side of the frame. The wire would come along this right side of the frame as it exits the servo. What I do is I put a little bit of goop on the front edge and the back edge of the servo that the wire is going to come across, and that'll help hold it down, and it also keep away from flapping around on the main shaft over there. On the other side, which would be this aileron servo, the wire runs on this side of the frame on the inside, and then there's an opening. Let me reposition this. Opening on this side of the frame, and what I will do then is either some zip ties, or I just use some wire ties to secure that onto that. And then I'll put a little goop there too, so I won't get any rubbing on the carbon, and then that helps to secure it so it's not flopping around. Then I bring the wires under the gyro tray and loop it up around, in this case to my fly-barless unit. The tail servo is pretty straightforward. I just run the wires up. No big deal there. But the main thing is getting these wires on the inside of the frame, and then on this side, on the right side, is a challenge to secure that, and then again with the goop, that does a good job. Alright, I was removing my brushless servos out of the 6HV airframe, and I came upon a mod that I did that I wanted to go over with some people. Now on the 6HV, what I've noticed on the front servos here is the lower servo that exits the left side of the airframe. The side of the case comes pretty close to the pinion support bearing. What you'll notice is about a 10-degree difference in your cyclic servo temperatures if you temp them post-flight on this bottom servo to the top servo. And as I started taking temps, I noticed that there's probably about a 30 to 40 degree difference, probably closer to 30 degree difference between the pinion support and this servo right next to it. So something I inferred from that is that there was some heat transfer from the pinion support bearing block area up into that servo, and heat being bad to electronics, I devised a little mod. What I did was I took some tin foil that you just get out of the kitchen, and then took a little bit of goop and smeared it between the layers of tin foil, and probably did about, I think, 2 or 3 layers of tin foil folded up onto itself, and then stuck it to a gyro pad, and then mounted that to the side of the servo just above the pinion support bearing. I'm going to try to get in here and hope the light shows it, but so hopefully you can see it moving around here. But assuming the servo was in there, you just stick it up to that side of the servo, and then a little bit of goop. This pad's used, so I'll just put a touch of goop up on there, and then stick some tongue depressors or something in between the pinion support and the servo until the glue dries, and then it should be good from there. But I have noticed quite a drop in temperatures. That servo does run just a hair warmer than the top servo now, but nothing like before. It's only a couple degrees difference. So hopefully that'll yield a increased lifespan on that servo just due to the lower temps. Alright, another mod that I wanted to go over that I do on the 6HV airframe and some of the other Compass airframes that use kind of a strange servo mounting setup is I will use goop, which may become a kind of familiar tip through the series anyway, but I use lots of goop and everything. But anyway, get these backing nuts, just goop a little bit onto the face of it, stick it up to the frame, and then you can kind of loosely mount a servo, screw some screws in there to align it, and let this dry, kind of draw it up. And then when you remove servos, if you ever have to service a servo, or if you're going to change them out, upgrade them, etc., then this thing ain't going to be loose and flopping around. And up in the front, that's where it really is a lot nicer then. Let's see if I can move this here. Give you a little bit better view. But these are really a pain in the rear to have to try to get in and hold tight if they're loose. So by gooping them, they're going to pretty much stay put, and then you won't have to mess around with them being loose and whatnot. Alright, so like I said before, we're putting the new servos in, and I'm going to show you again. I add the goop to the front edge of this elevator servo and the back edge as well, and then we'll just lay this servo wire right over it and kind of let it stick down a bit, and then I will let that cure before proceeding. So and give it about 15-20 minutes. It won't be fully cured, but it'll be tacked down enough to where you can move it. And I just use this, I use a lot of goop, so this household amazing goop is what I buy, because it's, I think, $5, $6, $7 for a big old tube of it. It'll last you quite a while. So.